Verna Kelley, and I would like to share with you the book I wrote about Nano Nagle, The Girl Who Loved Life. Hi, remember me? I'm Mary Lou Johnson. Maybe you read my first book about vocations. I bet you thought you would never hear from me again. Surprise, here I am. We got the neatest project to do at school. I'm in the 3rd grade this year. We get to use computers. I'm so excited. But back to the project. We have to use reference books and internet and get information about a saint or a hero or a holy person or an important person. Remember I told you that story about Nano Nagle in my book on vocations and the poor people and the dancing. I've been thinking a lot about Nano Nagle. I'm going to do my paper on Nano Nagle, and here's a picture of her. This is me. Nana was born in 1718 at Ballygriffin, County Cork, Ireland. I had no idea where Ireland was, so I found a map and I looked it up. It's not very big. I know some people who are Irish. Sounds like it's pretty cool to be Irish. They get all dressed up in green on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and have big parades and eat something called corned beef. Sounds strange to me. Nana's mom and dad were pretty rich, richer than most Catholics at that time. A book I found about Nana said that Nana was a wild girl. She loved to jump, run, and climb. I can just see her running through the green meadows by her house. There was a big tree, a barn, and a river. Some kids dared Nano to jump from the tree to the roof of the barn. Jump, Nano. I dare you to jump. Nano saw the big barrel of water by the roof. Being a daring girl, she just had to jump. I'm really afraid, said Nano to herself. All the children were waiting. All together they shouted, 1, 2, 3, jump! Nano jumped. She didn't reach the roof, but instead, plop, splash. She landed in the barrel of water. She was wringing wet and had chipped her tooth. Her sister Anne and her brother Joseph ran to get their mom. Nana was in trouble. Whenever Nana got in trouble, her mother would say, "You just wait until your father gets home." My mom does that too. It must be something parents or moms do to scare their little kids into behaving. There she is, going to jump off the roof. It was not good to be a Catholic in Ireland at this time in history. When Nana was small, there were no schools in Ireland for Catholic children. Some brave children went about looking like beggars and were called hedge school masters. Some of the pupils stood guard, and if the soldiers came, the children would run and yell, "The soldiers are coming!" The children hid the religion papers, and everyone got their math papers out. Hedge school masters got their name because they taught their classes beside the country hedges or in old buildings. Nana loved to play sometimes rather than do her studies. When Nana was 13 years old, her parents sent her to France to be educated by sisters. Nana did not like school, but she loved the dances and parties. She loved dressing up in fancy clothes. Isn't that a pretty one? Remember, I told you the story of Nana coming home at 5 o'clock in the morning from dancing all night. She saw many poor people standing at the church. They were huddled together in the bitter cold, waiting for Mass and the church doors to open. Nana thought of this scene many times. She thought, what am I doing with my life? But Nana still loved parties. She brought some beautiful silk material to make a new dress for a dance. She yelled, "Anne, have you seen my new silk material I brought to make a new dress?" Anne said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Nana. I sold the material and I got money for a poor family." Nana couldn't be angry with Anne. She loved the poor and helped them a lot. Nana often thought of the little Irish children with no one to teach them. Nana's father died, and she and Anne went back to Ireland to be with their mother. Then Anne died at the age of 23. Nana really missed her sister Anne. Nana had helped Anne with the poor. She kept thinking of the children. How could she help them? She decided she would be a sister and pray for the children. She went to France again, this time to be a sister. Nana was worried about the children. She was not happy in France being a sister. The priest told her to go back to Ireland and work for the children of Ireland. Jesus was calling her. I wonder if I'll get a call from Jesus to be a sister. Nano found an old building and started a school. She lived with her brother Joseph, and in 1754, Nano founded her first school in Cork City, Ireland. 2 years later, Nano had 7 schools in Cork City. Some other women worked with Nano and helped her teach in the schools. Nano loved teaching in her school. She always taught the children their religion. She loved to tell stories about Jesus. Nano loved Jesus and spent many hours in prayer. The other teachers taught math, reading, spelling. They also taught the girls how to sew and help their mothers. Nano taught school all day, and at night she took a lantern and walked the streets of Cork City looking for the poor and the sick. She was called the Lady of the Lantern. Nano was getting old and sick. She could no longer walk to her 7 girls' school and 2 boys' schools. Nano worried about her schools. Who would teach the children? Soon 3 young ladies joined Nano on Christmas Eve, 1775. These 4 women dedicated themselves to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and became a religious order. Nano was often heard saying, "If I could be of service in saving souls in any part of the world, I would gladly do all in my power." Later, the name of this group of women was changed to Sisters of the Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Today, there are many Sisters of the Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary. They work to bring Christ's love to children everywhere. They work with the poor, the sick, those unfairly treated by the world, and youth of all ages. Nano died April 26, 1784. As she lay dying, she said to her sisters, "Love one another and spend yourself for the poor." Nano was a hard worker. She loved the children. She loved the poor. I hope I'm like her and help others when I grow up. My teacher, Sister Mary Jane, is a presentation sister. I love her. Doesn't she look nice? I wonder what the teacher will give me on my paper. I hope she likes it. I just reread it, and I think it's pretty good. It's my best work.